yourself under my protection.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Let's put a smile on that face.
I'm touching myself tonight.
How can a woman possibly fight this?
There are two things I want to do. I want an American cheeseburger.
What's up, guys? It's Uz here from the DC vs. Marvel podcast, and this is the penultimate video in the Legend of Batman series. The reason being is that Eagle Moss, at least in this country, have said that they're only going to be doing 80 of these. So unlike the DC graphic novel collection, which seemed to have went on until I think it's like 150 or so now, these are going to be going up to 80. So this is 77 and 78. And it's not going to be going on much more than that. So we got one more delivery, which is going to be towards the end of December, start of January, and then that'll be it pretty much. And I think what I'm going to be doing at that point is I'm going to just complete my DC graphic novel collection, because there's a lot of stuff missing from there, kind of just to fill the shelf up. So it's probably about 4 or 5 that I need to get from those, and I'll do videos of those for you guys. This is the only place on YouTube that you can see the Legend of Batman collection, so try and make sure, guys, that you subscribe to this if you want to see more of this stuff. I did start doing the videos kind of halfway through the collection, so if you guys want to be seeing more of kind of the early stuff, me going through every single one, you can do. Just put it down in the comments and let me know. Today we have 2 graphic novels. There is Blink and Gothtopia. Blink is number 77 and Gothtopia is number 78. So let's turn that on the back edges here. You can see this is like a New 52 style story, and this is a much kind of older style of story with Blink. The graphic novels they're quite it's difficult to show, but this is quite thin, right? You look how thin this is, right? And you know, this is a thicker one than the other one, but this one is definitely like, it's super thin, and it's not only that, as I will show you there in a minute, the actual story itself doesn't even fill up this whole thing, right? So let's look at the edges there now. So Blink, we've got part of the spine there. Guys can see that, and you can see the spine here of Gothtopia there as well. So let's get into this. This is Blink now. I actually I don't like the art in this, but I really love the story here. This story is basically about a guy who, he's kind of villain, kind of not. He has a special power that basically he can see through other people's eyes. So I don't know if you guys remember Bruce Willis in that M. Night Shyamalan film Unbreakable, where you can kind of touch people and you can kind of see what they're doing, right? And he's obviously the protagonist, right? This is kind of like the same thing. This guy basically is blind. He has no eyes, but what he can do is he can touch people, and you can use that touch to basically go and look through their eyes. So you can see he's got no eyes there himself, but he uses that touch to kind of look through people's eyes. So he's been using that as like a petty criminal for a while, and he's been kind of like stealing from people, stuff like that, and eventually he touches somebody and he kind of finds out that this guy is like a serial killer, right? And he gets arrested because he's kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, because he kind of follows where this serial killer is, and then obviously Batman gets involved. The reason why I like this story so much, this is a real true Batman detective story, and the typical kind of Batman thing, which some people don't like, that basically he uses other people, right, to further his own means. So he basically uses this Blink guy, right, he basically uses this Blink guy to kind of solve the crime, right? Even though actually this guy is just a pawn, pretty much. So Batman uses him as a pawn, uses him to further his detective abilities, and it is just a really great storyline. We've got consistent artwork throughout the entire thing, really nice artwork. I've looked through the whole thing. There's no kind of print errors or anything like that there. The only thing that is a bit odd is obviously there's a lot of this kind of monologues where Batman is talking or thinking to himself. And these things are done in a kind of cursive script as opposed to a capital letters. You can see that down there, cursive, and obviously the capital letters up there. And that just makes it sometimes a bit more difficult to read. But overall, very kind of cool story. And it's a fairly long one as well. I mean, this took me a while to obviously read all the way through. And it's consistent, you know. It's not like a lot of these graphic novels where it's like a storyline kind of starts and it just goes and carries on into some random story there later on. This continues obviously all the way to the end. You got 4 parts there to it, and it's a great read, old school Batman detective style, and you know, fantastic storyline. I absolutely love it. This is something I would definitely recommend. And you know, not really like any supervillains and stuff like that, but kind of the stuff that, you know, that Batman is famous for. So let's put this one down on my workbench. Gothtopia is a different situation, right? I really don't like this at all. And a lot of people will say, because they kind of know me, oh, it's because the fact that, you know, Gotham is happy and blah blah. It's not that. I just don't like this because the fact that I have this real thing about being kind of scammed and cheated, right? And you know, if I feel that I've been like that, then it just annoys me. And in this story, basically we have a storyline of, this is like a utopia in effect, right? So Gotham, what happens is that it's a utopia. Everybody's happy. The villains are happy. You know, there's no crime. There's no need for the Batman. There's no need for the Gotham police, etc. And the first kind of section of this is the road to utopia. So pretty much this whole, I don't know how many comic books this would have been, is based on that, right? And it doesn't seem like it has any real connection to this, which is actually the see, even the artwork changes, right? See Jim Gordon there and there, right? So then the artwork changes, and then it basically changes into a thing where the storyline is very, very different. We have you know, a utopic you know, kind of Gotham, right? And it's just bizarre. Like, none of this has any good continuity. I guess as an idea for a storyline, it kind of makes sense. The only time when it actually starts kicking off as Gothtopia is here, like halfway through. You know, you got to get halfway through the story to actually understand that this has anything to do with you know, with Batman and Gotham City, right? So so here I like the artwork. The artwork's quite nice. You know, it's quite pleasant to look at, and it's interesting that, you know, Batman is in Arkham, and you've got these interesting designs, new designs of the characters. You've got different Batmen and stuff that are taking on the Scarecrow kind of mantle. The whole thing is basically Scarecrow's created this kind of new toxin, and what's happening in this new toxin is that he's changed it to make everybody think that there's a utopia, so that he can kind of take over. And obviously then Batman kind of catches him and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's like half a story here, pretty much. It starts from here. All of that is just nonsense. And if you think about it, that is not something that you can make a graphic novel of. So let's put these two on the shelf, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so here it is on the shelf. You can see it's next to, where it says, the first one is next to Officer Down. So now that Joker hand is completed. The other one is much further along here, which is number 71. There's that annoying kind of pink stripe there that we have on Talon. But yeah, it's you can see it here. Gothtopia, number 71, which is part of that kind of thing. So there's a couple more that I've noticed. Obviously, there's a bit of Robin that is kind of missing. I'm hoping there's nothing else at the start, so I don't even have to take this whole thing out. Because that's usually what ends up happening, but it looks like maybe there's a bit here as well that is missing, but we'll have a look and see. So there's only 2 left. Let me know what you think, guys, and keep tuned for the last one.